I really hope an entire conspiracy theory comes out of this video.
First off, I was like, am I really gonna talk to a Yeti? Yeti. There's this big burly guy. And I drew a picture of him. This is what he looks like.
Wow.
He's the one that's gonna tell me about Bigfoots because I was like, am I really gonna talk to a freaking, like, primate thing?
Are you talking to Gandalf the White?
I don't know what that means. Hi, I'm Em.
Hang on. And I'm Liv, and we're your PsycKicks. Today we're talking about... Wait, I have it written down. It's really good. Hang on. Hang on. I'm almost ready. The man, the myth, the legend. Yes, we're talking about Bigfoot. You're welcome. I'm really excited.
Is it Bigfoots or big feet or big feets? Or is it just the plural is Bigfoot? Aren't I supposed to write things about Bigfoot first?
Yeah.
So, we're psychic mediums if you haven't got the gist of it by now. And we like to do this thing where we play psychic chicken where one person does the research and the other person knows nothing and they try to guess. A lot of people like to say Bigfoot is an interdimensional being. Is it an interdimensional being? Let's find out.
Today, Em's the chicken and I'm the psychic medium.
I don't know how I'm going to do this because apparently there's a difference between a Sasquatch and a Bigfoot.
No. They're the same things. We had this discussion during lunch.
Me. I don't remember which one is which. Is it a Yeti and a Sasquatch?
There you go.
Yeah, apparently there's Yetis, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and an Abominable Snowman, and two of those things are the same. And two of them are not.
Yes, you're correct.
So, do you have an opinion as a psychic medium?
As a psychic medium?
Yeah.
No.
No, why not?
Well, we did that one thing like a long time ago when we figured out we were twin flames when we asked the pendulum if Bigfoot was real and they're like, no. Yes, but not in the way that people think that it is. And it's because it is real, but it's like one of those animals that are just not discovered yet or something. But I also asked my pendulum a question the other day and it lied to me. So now I think everything's a lie. So I'm just here.
Okay, you ready for what I wrote down?
Yeah, I'm actually hoping that we have differing opinions because the internet likes that. The people in the comments.
So, first off, I was like, am I really gonna talk to a Yeti? Yeti. So this big, what is the word that starts with a B? Then it's the same as saying they're husky. Burly?
Burly?
Yeah. There's this big burly guy. And I drew a picture of him. This is what he looks like.
Wow.
Focus. This is what he looks like. He's got a staff, a beard, and a hat. And he's in a flannel with a little vest thing. Hold on, it's fixing itself. Sorry about that. So, he also has a staff. He's the one that's going to tell me about Bigfoots because I was like, am I really going to talk to a freaking, like, primate thing?
Are you talking to Gandalf the White?
I don't know what that means. Is that the guy that says, you shall not pass?
You shall not pass!
Yes. He doesn't he doesn't look like Dumbledore. He's burly. Dumbledore isn't burly.
Is he a real man or is he a fairy?
God fucking damn it. He's not a real man, I can tell you that much.
Is he one of the old men of the mountains that keeps the secrets of the Sasquatches?
Well, he doesn't keep the secret of the Sasquatch.
He just knows about them?
I just think he's a part of the forest that's up there. Because when you say mountains, that feels good.
I really hope an entire conspiracy theory comes out of this video.
But literally, once you said, is he human or is he not, he twinkled and I was like,
oh, you're talking to Santa! Santa holds the secrets of Sasquatch!
His hair's brown. He's not
die
Santa.
in the North Pole.
You think Santa looks that scary?
I don't think that looks
He's got
scary.
burly eyebrows. He's looking at me like
that's what
Chuck Norris or Nicolas Cage, whichever one comes first.
Does he have a giant Bigfoot that comes out of his beard to roundhouse kick you down the mountain?
He's like, I'm a spiritual being. I can do whatever the heck I want. Takes out Bigfoot and kicks things.
to be him.
But yeah, there's a spiritual being who's not a man but looks like a man. I think he's like maybe, I don't know what he is.
He's the not man, if you will.
He just now freaks me out now that I know he's not a man.
Just go like this, look at him in his twinkling eyes and be like...
He's like, at least I'm not a Bigfoot. And I was like, God.
You're not wrong, my dude.
So this man is telling me, because I was like, what the heck is a Yeti or what the heck is a Bigfoot? Is it like the weird white snowman looking people that I melted in a room when I was 5?
Sorry.
Well, he's telling me that they look like Chewie, like from, is it Star Wars?
Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the way he told me that is by making me hear Chewie noises.
You're welcome.
Not
Put that
seeing
on
it,
the internet.
just hearing Chewie noises. And they tell me that it's like snipe hunting. So when you're little, snipe. When you're little, your family, like when your child takes you for snipe hunting, and snipe is an actual bird, like it actually exists. However, when you're this big, you're not actually searching for this bird. You're searching for like some really huge thing. I don't know. But they take you into the forest and they usually have some sort of bag. And then one of the adults generally is like, ha, I got it. And they like scrabble the bag everywhere. And they're like, it's a snipe.
Wild child.
I wasn't involved in this. My sister was involved. I was not. And I'm very upset about it.
I did not know about the snipe until Up.
Yeah! Where is that thing?
It's a snipe.
There's no such thing as a snipe.
But that's what they're telling me. It's like with Bigfoot, it's kind of like snipe hunting, whereas there is a realness to it, but the actual act of hunting is not. Does that make sense?
Okay.
That's what he's telling me specifically about like people going and trying to find Bigfoot. And then he tells me that there is a parallel universe in which these things exist that is very close to ours. So it's like this weird one like decision that existence made caused us to not have these big fluffy primate things. But it's not far-fetched to believe there is a parallel universe in which there are big fluffy furry men. Make sense?
What about ladies?
Same but different. Big fluffy ladies. Just like these
me.
Yeti guys. But yeah, he started talking to me about that evolution and how just small changes could create a parallel universe where these things exist. However, he makes me feel like they're very close together. So I have a question for you to ask one of your spirit guides or some sort of spiritual being. Can parallel universes bump into each other? Like, can they do, like, Mandela Effect type thing?
Yes.
They make me feel like, okay, he told me, like, multiple things that are very weird. So I'm, like, prefacing this. I'm not sure if this is real, but this is what this burly spiritual man is telling me. He first tells me that these parallel universes are very close to each other and they bump into each other. So that makes it confusing for me to know if there are actually a few that exist here versus them not existing here. Because they show me the two lines, they show me as like these bright white lights and then they bounce together and it's like two different movies going on. However, sometimes when they bump into each other, the movie is the same movie. And they describe that to me as, which is funny, is it Godzilla that's the big monkey guy? Or
no, Godzilla is a
what's the other guy?
giant female lizard that comes out of the ocean in New York, Japan.
Kong, is it Kong?
Yeah,
King Kong. You say they show me King Kong type things. And then they split off back to their same, like, universes.
Fun fact, Godzilla is my dad's favorite movie. I watched the OG Godzilla on, like, TV Land so many times as a child. Godzilla!
Yeah.
Ah!
So that's what I wrote down, Mandela Effect. So I don't know if they just, like, pop in and out of existence. I don't even think that's possible, but that's one of the things that they showed me. The other thing is, with the Mandela Effect, a lot of people, like a big group of people, remember something that is different to how it is now or how it is now accepted.
People remember these things in every single way. So, like, they're different a little bit. So, like, which one do you remember? I remember Pikachu having a black tail.
Those are the Mandela effects that kind of, like, interlude itself into our universe. So that was them trying to explain to me that our parallel universes are so close that they bounce together. But what he was telling me specifically about that is, sorry, he's telling me more things because I'm asking him dumb questions while talking. And I'm like, is that really weird thing about the Kong real? And he's like, no, but that was the best way to explain to you that parallel universes bounce in and out of each other. So he's explaining to me that we remember the idea of Bigfoot because we are, like, close in the parameters of this parallel universe. So that's why when we see other animals, our brains fill in the blank of it being a Yeti or a Bigfoot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not necessarily seeing them and they're not necessarily real or exist here. They exist in a parallel universe that is very close to our existence. So it has this kind of Mandela effect coming in where people remember seeing this Yeti thing. However, it doesn't necessarily exist here. And I'm not saying it existed beforehand. I'm saying it exists in this parallel universe that we bump into from time to time, which is why we remember that. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, great.
I'm sure people are gonna be like, yes, 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 yes.
Do you have questions?
No.
Great.
Alright, so tales of wild hairy humanoids have existed throughout the world, but we're not talking about this, or this, or this! We're talking about this! Thank you. And I put insert Monsters Inc. Yeti here, a picture of Fennel, then the SpongeBob reference with Mrs. Krabs or Mrs. Puff doing the circle thing, and then when I say, we're talking about this, go ting, and insert the pics of the Jack Link's Sasquatch.
No.
That's how my brain thought about this. Anyways,
Okay.
We're talking about Bigfoot, the alleged cryptid said to inhabit. Hang on. The alleged cryptid said to inhabit the lands of North America.
So
You
is
hear?
it Bigfoots? A whole bunch of Bigfoots?
Yeah.
A group
We're not
of
talking
Bigfooty-eye?
feeties, Bigfootsies.
Guys, what is the plural of Bigfoot? Please let me know down in the comments.
Ooh, please fight about it. I want it to be.
Yeah, also please
big.
fight about it.
I want
Make it brutal.
I want it to be big feets, big foots, big feeties,
Big
big
footis.
footsies, big tootsies.
Bigfoot is.
Alright, so there is a large demographic of mainstream scientists who discount the existence of Bigfoot due to anecdotal claims of sightings, alleged videos and audio recordings, photographs, and castings of the large footsies in the wilderness. Some allegations are known to be admitted hoaxes, so people are like, yeah, I did this. Joke's on you. Like,
But it was a good story, huh?
There's literally this one dude that literally cries wolf about Bigfoot and has
would do
made
that.
at least $100,000 in the past, like, 5 years.
Yeah, snipe hunting. It's really fun.
People get really... He's done it, like, 3 times, though. Like, 3 times! And he's like, never mind, I gotcha!
It's always a good time when you go snipe hunting.
It's really funny. So, Bigfoot have kinfolk, which are included in South America, and by South America I mean Southern North America. They have cousins known as the skunk ape, the Alamus, Yeren, and Yeti, which are native to Asia, and the Australian Yowie, because that's what you scream if you ever see one in Australia.
So these are different kinds of Bigfoots.
Big feets. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're different. The ones from, like, southern United States are the skunk ape. I think the Alamus, Yeren, and Yeti are all from Asia, and then the Australian Yowie.
What makes it a skunk ape? Does it
It's
have a
just
skunk
what
tail?
they call it.
Man bear pig?
It's Florida, Emily.
Man bear pig. Ever watched that one on South Park?
I'm talking, of course, about Man-Bear Pig.
Man bear pig?
It is a creature which roams the earth alone. It is half man, half bear, and half pig.
Sorry. If you guys are really into Bigfoot, I just like the name because I think it's funny. But this is serious.
I'm glad you like the name because this is how it got its name.
Well, no.
Picture it. It's 1958 and you're working for a logging company in Humboldt County, California. You and the other working people on the Jerry Crew logging team start noticing that oil drums weighing approximately 450 pounds or 220 kilos for our North American friends. They're being moved around. These giant oil drums are moved around and no one's the wiser about who's done it. One day, you and the boys notice some naked footprints sunken deep in the mud of the Six River National Forest. Y'all think it's old Wallace playing tricks on the crew, but eventually other crews start noticing and talking about the same tracks that they're seeing too. Eventually, a man named Andrew Genzoli from the Humboldt Times, because he's called in to report on these giant feetsies that he's seeing in the mud prints that you guys are seeing in the mud prints. So he makes this report in the Humboldt Times, this Andrew Genzoli guy, to let the townspeople know that there's a presumed Bigfoot creature in the area. So Genzoli interviewed various lumber workers and wrote articles about the mysterious footprints, including introducing the name Bigfoot as the culprit.
But this isn't the guy that screams wolf, cries wolf.
No, this guy
cries Bigfoot.
The guy who cries Bigfoot is actually like current, like 2017 or no, April 2022 or something. He was like, I found a Bigfoot. I really did this time, guys. And they paid him like 60 G's and he's like, yeah, it was an April Fool's prank.
So is that the technical term for him, a Bigfoot?
Well,
what is it, a Yeti? Is a Yeti and a Bigfoot the same thing?
A Yeti is the cold one. Yetis are white.
Where are they from?
Southern Asia. Southeastern Asia.
Is it cold up there?
Himalayas.
Oh, okay. I can get with the mountain type thing.
Yeah. So anyways, Genzoli interviewed various lumber workers and wrote articles about the mysterious footprints, and there he introduced the name Bigfoot in relation to the tracks in the local tales of large, hairy, wild men.
I get it now. Because Abominable Snowman and Yeti would be the same thing.
Yes.
And Bigfoot?
No.
Not Bigfoot. Bigfoot is the Chewbacca looking thing.
Yes.
Got it.
So it was the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So
we caught an Abominable Snowman, not a Bigfoot. Sorry for the confusing. It's definitely a Yeti.
So eventually a plaster cast was made of the footprints and Mr. Jerry Crew of the Jerry Crew Logging Company of himself appeared on the front lines holding the cast in the newspaper that was published on October 6th, 1958. The New York Times and the Los Angeles Times also got wind of the little Humboldt County reporter Genzoli's article, and thus the nomenclature of Bigfoot was added to our vernacular. In 2002, the old Wallace, the prankster, the alleged prankster, who wasn't alleged until 2002.
Wait, the guy that cries Bigfoot?
No.
Okay, different guy. Got it.
In 2002, Old Wallace was outed as the culprit of the 1958 Bigfoot activity. Ray Wallace
was he making Bigfoot footprints?
Ray Wallace was a deceased member of the original logging crew from 1958 who, according to his family's statement, made the large footprints with a wooden carving he'd fabricated. And to this day, despite the family's claims, Willow Creek and Humboldt County are considered, quote, the Bigfoot capital of the world.
Do they have Airbnbs there that we can go and stay in?
I'm sure there is.
And we can go Bigfoot hunting.
Sasquatch hunting?
Sasquatch hunting.
Alright, so let's get into a little bit of the lore and the stories. Thank you again, Wikipedia. So, North American indigenous cultures of North America have stories of mysterious, hair-covered creatures living in the forests. And these, lore and stories actually predate modern names for Bigfoot and modern understandings of it. There is on the Tule River Indian Reservation in Central California, there's petroglyphs created by a tribe of Yokuts, I think it's Yokuts, at a site called Painted Rock, and are alleged by some to depict a group of a Bigfoot called the Family. And the local tribespeople call the largest of the glyphs, quote, hairy man, and they're estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 years old. Now, there's also 16th century Spanish explorers.
Where was that?
In California. Central California, on the Tule River. The Tule River Indian Reservation.
Well, what would look like that?
I know in northeastern Native American lore, there are these little tiny interdimensional beings that look more like, not necessarily Bigfoots, which would be like Chewbacca, which I think Chewbacca is an Ewok. No, he's a Wookiee. Chewbacca is a Wookiee. And then in northeastern United States Native American culture, there is something else that looks more like an Ewok. And I forget what they're called.
I don't know what either one of those things are.
Okay, Ewoks are the little tiny ones that look like teddy bears and they shoot like giant freaking arrows
at... look like a Karibo, but a man instead of 2 eyes. They're like this big. That's their body.
Yeah.
And then they have legs.
Yeah. They look like little teddy bears, like fuzzy teddy bears. They look like Ewoks.
I don't know what an Ewok is. However, they make horrible noises. They're, you know those, if you guys have watched or played, Zelda, they look like the characters that you fight from Zelda. You're welcome. I don't know if they're...
Thank you.
You were talking about little things, because I was gonna ask you which animal, because this man is telling me it would be really weird to see an animal that's normally on all fours stand up to eat things out of trees. So I was like, which one of those animals is it? Because I'm going to get clear cognizantly, and then I see this down of the animal. So you can tell that they're a quadruped because of their legs, how they're attached to their bodies.
Sasquatches are quadrupeds or bipeds?
What people are seeing is a quadruped with 4 legs.
Ah.
But they're standing up eating things. So that's why they're like, holy crap, that thing is huge. Because they're quadrupeds trying to like eat things out of trees. So that's why it's like disruptive. It's like weird to see things that normally are 4-legged stand up on their back legs. That's what this man is telling me. Why?
We'll get there.
Okay.
So there are 16th century Spanish explorers and Mexican settlers in California who told tales of los vigilantes oscuros, or the Dark Watchers, who are large creatures alleged to stalk their camps at night. In the region that is now known as Mississippi, a French Jesuit priest was living in the Natchez in 1721 and reported stories of hairy creatures in the forest known to scream loudly and steal livestock. Joke's on you, it was me. So, ecologist, it's a weird word to say and read at the same time. Ecologist Robert Pyle argues that most cultures have accounts of human-like giants in their folk history, expressing a need for some larger-than-life creature. Each language had its own name for the creature, featured in the local versions of each legend. Many names mean something along the lines of wild man, hairy man, although other names describe common actions that it was said to perform, such as eating clams or shaking trees. Chief Michelle of the... Dude, I'm gonna mess this up. I think it's Nalaka at Lytton, British Columbia, told a story to Charles Hill Tout in 1898. Now, I apologize for all of the horrible things that I'm gonna mispronounce for Native American and Indigenous peoples' tribes, but I'm gonna give it a good college try. So... we have the Setales or Setales people tell stories about Sasquatches or I think it's Sasquatch. Sasquatch is a shape-shifting creature that protects the forest. Bless you.
Is that what this man is? I'm sorry.
The name Sasquatch is an angelicized or Anglican people made word version of Saskets, which roughly translates to hairy man, Saskets.
Oh, are they all hairy men?
It's just what they say.
Oh, okay.
I think there's probably hairy women too, because someone's got to make
hairy primate-looking things are all the things you're talking about right now?
Yeah.
That are from these Native American cultures?
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So Sasquatch means roughly hairy man in the Helecaleum language. So members of the Lumi tell tales about creatures known as, I think it's Tuskimikus. The stories are similar to each other in the general descriptions of Tuskimikus, but details differ among various family accounts concerning the creature's diet and activities. Some regional versions tell of more threatening creatures, such as the Staya or the Kiwi-Kawai. It's Kui-Kui-ai, sorry. The Stahea and the Kui-Kui-ai were a nocturnal race, and children were warned against saying the names because the monsters would come and carry them off to be eaten or killed, which is a fun time.
All hairy people?
Yeah. The Iroquois tell of an aggressive, hair-covered giant with rock-hard skin known as the Otaneyarhe, or stone giant, more commonly referred to as the Gensqua. In 1847, Paul Kane reported stories by the natives about Skakums, a race of cannibalistic wild men living in the peak of Mount St. Helens, which is located in southern Washington. Also related to this area was an alleged incident in 1924 in which a violent encounter between a group of gold prospectors and a group of, quote, ape men occurred. These allegations were reported in a July 16th, 1924 issue of the Oregonian and have become a popular piece of Bigfoot lore, with the area now being referred to as, quote, Ape Canyon.
Interesting.
Now, into the misidentifications. So a lot of the mainstream scientific community, as Wikipedia likes to talk about them, there's like the AWOL scientific community that's like, Bigfoot's real! And then the other ones are like, excuse me, sir, there's no proof. And these are the misidentifications of the mainstream scientists and other things. Bears. Mm-hmm. Bears are the quadrupedal animals in which I think Emily was trying to talk about, because they just see from like here down that a lot of scientists believe is an explanation for allegations of Bigfoot's existence. So black bears and grizzly bears that are in the right place at the right time and in the correct environment. So black bears, a healthy black bear that's grown, can stand on its back legs, and it's approximately 5 to 7 feet tall, which is 1.5 to 2.1 meters. Now, grizzly bears, if standing on their back legs, are anywhere from 8 to 9 feet tall, which is 2.4 to 2.7 meters. And grizzly bears and black bears don't usually stand on their back legs, but it's known to happen if they're injured or if I'm trying to get something that's taller. So people are like, it's actually just a bear. However, in 2007, trail photos of a alleged juvenile Sasquatch seen in PA or Pennsylvania was brought to the media's attention, and immediately the Game Commission of Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Game Commission, dismissed it as a black bear with mange. However, there's a scientist by the name of Vanessa Woods who estimated the photo's subject had approximately 22-inch long arms, which is 560 millimeters long, and 18.75-inch long torso, which is about 476 millimeters long. And those proportions are closer to a chimpanzee. So they're like, we don't think it's a mangy bear. It looks more like a juvenile Sasquatch. Dun dun. Because they're like, the proportions are wrong. Now, another theory for things as alleged Bigfoots to be misidentified as are escaped apes.
Jesus.
Like actually escaped monkeys. Well, monkeys and apes are different, so that's wrong. But anyways,
is correct.
Mostly in the southeastern United States, these claims of skunk apes are alleged to the fact that people in the South are allowed to keep animals that are like this as pets. And they're like, well,
they're allowed?
Some people have them as pets and they escape or they let them go.
I was like, that doesn't sound safe. You shouldn't have that in your backyard.
I'm not agreeing with it either, but they're like, it's just escaped in the South. Okay. Now, there's also the rationalization that these things that people are seeing as, quote, Bigfoots or Sasquatches are actually just humans. So humans have been mistaken for Bigfoot, with some incidents leading to injuries. In 2013, a 21-year-old man in Oklahoma was arrested after he told law enforcement he accidentally shot his friend in the back while their group was allegedly hunting for Bigfoot. It gets better. In 2017, a shamanist wearing clothing made of animal furs was vacationing in North Carolina in the forest when a local reports the allegations of Bigfoot sightings came flooding in, and the Greensville Police Department had to issue a public notice not to shoot a, quote, Bigfoot in the area for fear that someone in a fur suit would be mistakenly injured or killed. In 2018, a person was shot multiple times by a hunter near Helena, Montana, who claimed he mistook this person for a Bigfoot. Additionally, some sightings of Bigfoots have been attributed to feral humans or hermits living...
Feral humans.
I know, I've never heard that before.
Interesting.
Feral humans or hermits.
That's a really weird way to describe someone, considering the fact that something that's not feral is in domestic human care. That's weird.
Feral humans or hermits living in the wilderness as being another explanation for alleged Bigfoot sightings. One famous story, The Wild Man of Navidad, tells of a wild ape man who roamed the wilderness of eastern Texas in the mid-19th century, stealing food and goods from local residents. So a search party allegedly captured a slave who had escaped, and this was attributed to the story of Bigfoot. In 1980s, this is really sad too, both of those ones are sad, but in the 1980s, a number of psychologically damaged American Vietnam veterans were stated to be in the state of the Washington's Veterans Affairs Director. During the 1980s, a number of Vietnam veterans were, I guess, living in the remote wooded area. So a lot of people thought that they were also like a group of Bigfoots, big feets.
Why? Because they were living there?
They were just Vietnam vets living off the land, and they're like, nah, them's just some Sam Squatches.
Interesting.
Which I think is very interesting. Now, the last thing that scientists like to allege to explain away Bigfoot sightings is something called, I think it's pareidolia, which means, it's the phenomena of humans who see human-like faces and figures within our natural environment. So, like, when you see, like, faces in the clouds, faces and knots in the trees, Jesus on a potato chip, pareidolia. Bigfoot in the wilderness. There we go. Words are hard. So now there's other hypotheses too that are a little bit more scientifical, if you will. So there's a extant species of southeastern Asian apes who are theorized to have crossed the Bering Land Bridge. These are called Gigantopithecus blacki. But no fossils of Gigantopithecus blacki have been found in North America. However, they are hypothesized by a very small amount of people to have been bipedal ape-like humanoid creatures. But then there's another larger part of the scientific community that are like, it's impossible for you to think about that idea from a literal lower mandible of that creature that hasn't even been found in North America, and they were hypothesized or like known to be a lot larger. So for something to be bipedal and that large would have to probably only be quadrupedal. So they're like, something that big can't just walk on its back legs. They're not even a part of the hominid group at all. They're descendants or break-off group from orangutans.
So these are what, prehistoric ape-like creatures that could be still existing, maybe?
In North America, yes.
Well, were they in North America? Or
no.
Not? Okay, that's
there's just a small group of scientists that found a mandible and are like, because we look at this mandible, we think that they walked on 2 feet, and there's a possibility that they went across the Bering Sea land bridge and were in North America. But no one's ever found proof of that.
I can tell you that in a parallel universe, this man says that it's possible. The evolutionary something happened on this earth that made the set different, and there are big ape Yeti things. Well, not Yeti things. Chewbacca things.
Chewbacca things.
Can't think of the other word that's not a Yeti.
Some suggest that Neanderthal, Homo erectus, or Homo, I think it's Heidelbergensis, or Heidelbergensis, to be a creature, but like all the other great apes, no remains of any of those species have been found in the Americas. So they're like, there's a possibility that they're still here, and we just don't know about it. So, it's fine. My standpoint is the same as Jane Goodall, so I'm gonna read Jane Goodall's standpoint. She is a primatologist, if you don't know. So primatologist Jane Goodall was asked for her personal opinion of Bigfoot in a 2002 interview on National Public Radio's Science Friday. She joked, "Well now, you'll be amazed when I tell you that I'm sure that they exist." She later added, chuckling, "Well, I'm a romantic, so I always wanted them to exist." And then finally she concluded her statement by saying, why isn't there a body? I can't answer that, and maybe they don't exist, but I really want them to. In 2012, when asked again by the Huffington Post, Goodall said, "I'm fascinated and would actually love them to exist," adding, "Of course, it's strange that there's never been a single authentic hide or hair of the Bigfoot, but I've read all the accounts." I would like Bigfoot to exist, and I agree with Jane Goodall that there isn't like concrete evidence, but I also believe that Santa exists, so...
So then what's your medium take on Bigfoot?
I've just heard so many things from other people that make, I believe them. So I think I don't think they're interdimensional beings, and if they are, they're not just interdimensional beings. I think they actually exist. We just haven't found them yet. So I'm with Jane Goodall. I'm like, why don't we have proof? But also, it makes a lot of sense, but it also makes no sense. So that's my input on it.
So, if you want to continue this fight down in the comments, we encourage you to do so.
And in our podcast, my father's going to be in there. He loves Bigfoot, and he has a lot of claims from his friend who owns a lot of acreage in Norte America and has heard a lot of the Bigfoot things, so much so that he now goes to Bigfoot conventions.
So wait, he owns property there? Could we have an Airbnb and we just go and see the Bigfoots?
I'm sure he would allow us to try investigate Bigfoots at his property.
I would thought if you guys want to see that, you have to make this video go to 100,000 likes.
And then we'll go to...
And then we'll go to an Airbnb in Bigfoot country.
You guys should send us your Sasquatch
proof
encounters, like your stories.
Oh.
And we'll have an entire Sasquatch listener story for you.
Yeah, I'll put a link down in the description below, as well as in a pinned comment if you want to tell us your Bigfoot stories, and we'll make a listener stories and you could possibly get featured. So you should go into that link and tell us your stories.
Tune in on Sunday to listen to my dad's melodic voice talk about conspiracies of Bigfoot.
And if you guys like this content about mythological beasts and otherwise, tell us what mythological beast you would like us to talk about next down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, because in our next video we're going to be talking about something even better and you don't want to miss out. So
we all yo
in the next one. I was trying to talk at the same time as you. Sorry.
Also, here are our lovely patrons. PsycKicks! Yeah, Bigfoot's wild. And the fact that this dude saw a white one, I was like, wait, are they like bunnies? Do they turn white?
Well, isn't that a Yeti?
Do they turn white in the winter?
You told me the Yetis are the
But there's
ones.
types of animals that are So tell me what your mediumship brain says.
I can tell you what my autistic brain says. When I was 5, I went to a birthday party and we caught the Abominable Snowman. We had those little tennis rackets on our feet, and we found this man dressed in a costume and we locked him up in a room and then ate cake, and when we got back from cake, he melted.
They're called snowshoes. The tennis rackets.
That's not the point of the story. He melted. I was 5. There was a grown man dressed in a fuzzy costume that melted in a room.
So you're actually wanted for murder.
Or kidnapping.
Or both.